Okay, what we're doing here, we're doing a little bit of major collision repair. Now, when I say major collision repair, I'm talking about the inner fender structure on a vehicle. This happens to be I think it's a 2013 Nissan van. Got hit right in this corner here, and it crushed everything in this way. It pushed all the front end over to the left. And what we did is we went ahead and pulled all the frame back. We straightened everything out that we could straighten. But from getting hit in this corner right here, it crushed all this section in. And well, it really turned out to be a nightmare. And what I'm doing here is I'm showing you how to replace this inner structure the easy, simple way.
Welcome to D.I.Y. Automotive School with my friend Pete and Minnie, the body shop girl. It's everything you need to know about cars and more.
Alright, so basically what we're starting to do here, let's walk around the corner. We got our brand new piece right here. This is basically a whole inner fender structure that we're looking at. And if you look at that, that's not really the whole thing. Because if you really look at it close and you were paying attention to when we first started this, you can see where I cut it out right here. Okay? I cut it out there, and then over here in this area right here is where we basically removed it. The reason for that is because this section right here is actually separate and you got to purchase it separate. We don't want to relocate that, remove it, or anything in that gesture, because what will happen if we don't get this section on properly, perfectly fit, the hood will never line up, the fender won't ever line up, and you'll never get your front end lined up the way that you're supposed to do it. And I don't know if anybody can see this right here, but this hinge was pushed down pretty hard. We still got to pull all that out. It should be like way up here. All right, and it's down like this at an angle. So all that's got to be pulled out when we get to it. But what we're trying to do here is fix this the most easiest, simplest way possible that we can fix it. And the way that we're doing that is we're going to be splicing and dicing. So let me get this section out. You can see that I removed all of the core support, upper and lower. I've unbolted the frame from the front end, and we went ahead and basically made this structure where we can remove it. But there's one other piece missing that you don't see here. Let me show that to you. And that's that piece right there, which actually, once it's on the car, looks like this right here. So when we first started this little journey out, when we first started this, I didn't go ahead and buy this whole structure that you're looking at right here. My initial impression of this wreck was that this corner right here was wrecked. This was the only thing that was wrecked, and I didn't really realize that the back section of this was crushed in as bad as it was. But when we bought the section that you're looking at right here, and this is the front section of that frame section, that inner structure, all right, you can see that you can buy all these pieces individually. And I went ahead and bought this, and when I got it into the vehicle, mimicked it into fit, there was no way that it was going to work. So then we decided to order the whole inner fender structure, and as you can see, this is it. It actually comes in two pieces. You get your front piece and your back piece. That's the piece I was talking about being your back piece right there. And this is actually a very hard one to replace because you got your fuse box assembly here, your computer's right there, and it's just very, very complicated. We can't even remove this fuse box out of here because wires and structure go down inside it, and it's just a big giant mess. So what we're going to do to make this job easy is I am actually going to eliminate part of this unit right here to make it fit into the vehicle right there. So if we look in this area right here, we can see where I took my plasma cutter and I went ahead and cut around the edges. I came off this area right here approximately an inch and a half. And then on this area right in here, I went right up here to where this battery box is actually spot welded down. I went right up to that edge right there. And I removed this whole corner section out of the vehicle. Let's go ahead and get that out of the way and then we can see what we got. So what that left us with is this rear section of our vehicle, of the inner fender structure. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and remove all of this section out of here. And you can see that this is inside that rear section. You see how this is spot welded in there? But I want you to pay close attention to what we're looking at here. You can also see that it's got some studs that are welded onto our piece, and here's another one right here. And what that is this section right here on our new one, where all this will bolt back up and line up perfectly. So what I'll do is I'll take my air chisel with my spot weld cutter, and I'll get rid of all this inside. Once that's done, then we're going to go ahead and measure everything out, what we need to remove to go ahead and fit this piece in there. And if you notice real close here, we're going to be ending up removing that back section. We're going to take that off, and I'll go ahead and cut that right here. This is where I cut the other one, right in this area here. I don't know if you can see that line. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go up approximately 1.5 inches, right where this starts to roll, and I'm going to cut this one off right here because I want this to overlap on this one. And then hopefully, once we tie everything together and we get that front piece bolted into the back piece, we should have a good section that we can use, and it should line up right. So what I got here, I got an air chisel with a spot weld buster. This is a spot weld buster tip. All right, it's specifically designed to bust the spot welds off. And when you're working on this old nasty stuff and you're not really worried about keeping it, this right here is the best tool to use. Now that we got that section cut out, what we're going to do is we're going to take this section and cut everything off this that we need to cut off to put it on to the vehicle. Alright, so now that we got our piece right here, this is the piece that we bought from the dealership, the factory. What we're going to do is we are going to get this lined up. We're going to cut it out so it will fit on that piece. I will mention that this is actually an easy piece to fit due to the fact that it's got the screw holes over here on this side. Let me turn that around and I'll show you that one more time. You might be a guy that just came into the show here and don't know what we're talking about. But if you look right here in this area here, this actually slides together, and then there's bolts that line everything up from the front to the back. We went ahead and cut that one off, but when we cut it off, remember this is the front of the vehicle, this would be the back where I'm standing. We cut it off right here at that point. So I'm going to go ahead, since that's black and you can't see it, I'm going to go ahead and put a line there. And remember now, this piece here is still connected to the vehicle. So I'm actually right here where the windshield is. This is the back piece. So we cut it off right here, and then what I did is I came up, how did I do that? I came over here like this, just like that. All right. And then if you look at this hole right here, I went right up the center of that. Okay, so I came down here, took that tape off, and then of course right here. And then that's the section that we cut out of the car. Now right here in this area, you can see there's some spot welds right here. I don't know if you can see that in the camera. If you look right here, you can see here's the two layers that lay on top of each other. And then basically what we did, we cut straight up here, and we came around this little section here, because what we want to do is we want to slide this piece, the front piece, we want to slide it on. So we got this piece here that we cut off, that's the old piece. Now what we're going to do to cut this one, we're not going to cut it in the same spot. What we'll do is we will cut it way over here. Okay, remember I was telling you about this curve right here? Alright, so I'm going to bring it way over here like this on this curve. And I'm going to cut a nice straight line. It's kind of hard to get that line when you're going up and down on hills. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to cut this one off. It looks like I'm going to come back down here, but I'm going to come straight down here, and I see that there's no spot welds in this area, so I got to cut this off here, and then what I'll do on this one to make it where it'll fit better is I'm going to cut this one right down this line right here of this oblong hole. And then once I cut this section out, then we'll go over to the vehicle and we'll fit it in to the car. Alright, so let's go ahead and start cutting. Now what I'm using here, I'm using a plasma cutter to do this. If you don't have a plasma cutter, you're going to have to rely on cutting wheels, air saws, or some other apparatus that will cut this the way that you want it. I suggest that you get an electric grinder, a 4.5-inch grinder, and use the little round cutoff wheels that fit on there. That's the best choice if you don't have this. You don't see the feature break fall off. Or just follow back in this area here. And we just did that just to remove it and get it out of our way. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come way over here. Just like that. And then now we have our piece that we can use to install back into the vehicle. I got to do a little bit of cleanup on that end over there. Once I get that cleaned up, we're going to come back and see what we did. And then we're going to slide this on there and fit it in there, crossing our fingers that everything fits together well. Alright, so the first thing we're going to need is this right here. This is what you call the front frame horn bolt. And of course, washer. Once we get it lined up in there, we got to come up there and screw that in. That way we can do our measurements on it to see if everything's lined up and fitting properly. Alright, so let's go ahead and fit it inside here. You can basically see the situation down there. The radiator goes in the big hole and then the frame sits down on it right there like that. And then we're going to lay this on top like this. And then we got to fit the puzzle together. This goes inside here and then this is going to lay on top of that. So hang on 1 second here. Okay, this is going to go inside. If you can lift your end up. There you go, right there, and hold it right there. Hang on. Lift it up one more time. Okay. Hold it. Up. Up. Let me see it. Go right there. And then this is going to go inside here. Okay, something is stopping us, so hang on. Let's see what we got here. Something is making it where it won't go in. Yeah, it's right here. Okay, something's right here. Okay. All right, what we got here is this lip I got to cut. Can you get my cutting wheel and I'll go ahead and cut that? I think that goes on the outside of that anyway. Yeah, it does. Give me my body hammer. Okay, let's see here. You got a dolly? I need a hand dolly. Thank you. Okay, now let's go ahead and try to get it up in there again. And that should slide up under there. Just like this. Okay. Almost there. Still running into a problem right here on this. Where's my hammer at? It looks like. There we go. Okay. Get this on here. That goes on the outside of that. Okay. It's real tricky trying to put these together and fit them in here when you ain't got nothing going on. Some problems. See? Now we're still hitting this right here. This is like bent right here. You can see where it's bent, so let's bend that out. There we go. Okay. So as you see, complications will happen. I'm having a problem going around this edge right here, getting that in there to fit. But that's good though, really, because when that happens, we know that it's going to be a nice tight fit. Am I right, Minnie?
Yeah.
Give me my cutting wheel. We got to take it out. And we got to cut this little corner off right here. Well, you know what? I don't even need to do that. I need my pry bar. This has got to fit in here. See, that's the problem. And so we're going to go right here, and then our piece is going to go inside this. And we're having a little bit of a problem. Set yours up on the, hang on now, this is gonna, make sure all the wires and shit are out of the way. Okay. Alright, now, get it in there. Alright, so now that we got our section mounted in there, we're going to test fit this because we're going to have to take it out to paint it. We got to paint this white before we put it in, but we're just test fitting everything. So I'm going to go ahead and bolt the frame to the core support down here. And you got to go up underneath, just like this. And then hopefully that'll line up. And I haven't seen it line up yet. Hang on one second. All right, let me figure it out, because this is where you line everything up. So you got to get all the factory bolt holes lined up. All right, let's get this in here. And then what we'll do is we're going to use our crow's foot to line this up right there. See how I just did that? Because it's real important that before you do any welding or anything, you have to test fit your piece onto, there it goes. You have to test fit everything to make sure it's all going to work. Alright, there's that right there. Okay, so basically what you just saw was one way to save money and time on collision repair. We're not even done with this yet, we're not close, but what I got to do is I just test fitted in there is what I did. And now what I got to do is I have to take it off, prep it up. We got to paint this white. And then once that's done, then we can go ahead and get all that welded in. So let me get this painted, and then I'm going to show you how to finish this thing out. And what really made this job easy, do you know what it is?
Most of it's bolt-on.
Well, what really made this job easy for us, and this only happens very rarely, is that this piece actually bolts onto this piece to line everything up. And when you're working on new technology such as this van, 2013 van, you see how easy it is to line everything up, because computer age has taken over, technology's easier, we got CAD systems, we got, you know, just everything about it is much easier and much nicer. So collision repair is a lot easier to do than restoration, and I'm not cutting anybody down that does collision repair. And if you do collision repair, I hope you're making a lot of money, because there's not a lot of money in it. Am I right, Minnie?
Yep.
All right, there's not a lot of money in collision repair, and there's definitely not a lot of money in auto restoration. But what you saw me do right here is basically mimic my way into saving me a lot of time. Now, I told you we have the hinge that was bent. What I'll do is I will heat that up with my torch, and then I will take my giant slide hammer, probably drill a couple holes, and I will slide that up and down to get that hinge plate moved back up this way here. We'll be back with part 2 as we finish out this job of saving big bucks on your collision repair with my friend Pete and Minnie the Body Shop Girl over here at D.I.Y Auto School. I'd like to mention that the only support that I get on here is if you subscribe to this channel. So if you like what you're watching and you are a believer in supporting people that work their ass off, such as me and Minnie the Body Shop Girl, please subscribe to this channel. I need subscribers. That's how we move up in the ranks, is by subscriptions. And to get us up in the ranks, we need your help to do that. That's all we ask. Subscribe to the channel. And if you want to, go ahead and comment below whether you like the video, whether you don't. I don't care. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Great. Anything will help. We got to go. Take it easy. My friend Pete, your friend Pete. We'll be back on part 2 as we finish up this major collision repair, saving the big bucks as we fix it.
Thanks for watching D.I.Y. Automotive School. Classes don't stop till you know everything.